Hey y'all, continuing the work on the Grand National, so follow along and see what we get to do.
It's showering trans fluid, hallelujah, it's showering trans fluid, yeah. That's so satisfying.
You can see that the fluid that was in there was pretty red, even dripping off. It's pretty clean fluid, so I'm sure at one point in its life it's been replaced. But like I said, we're gonna go ahead and replace that filter anyways, because we have it, and put her back together and clean her up down here, because this was a mess. Got the pan all cleaned up. The filter says made in the USA, patent numbers. That's pretty clean in there. Don't know if that's original or not. One thing I did notice about the new one, I mean, it's got pretty similar stampings, is that right here is a gasket. I don't see that gasket on there, which makes me think that one of two things. I want to put this one on the ground. Let me just put it up to it next to each other. Yeah, and so either one, this gasket's still in there, or two, it just never came with it. Maybe it's not required, but let's have it added on. We're gonna actually look in there. Oh yeah, there's a gasket in there, so right there. So I'm gonna actually have to take a pick, pull that old gasket out so I could put the new filter in. So don't want to make that mistake. We're gonna put this back together. Mating surfaces are clean. It's gonna do one final wipe down. The torque specs are between 6 and 10 foot-pounds, so I'm gonna put it on, hand tighten them. They're gonna be on the cross, so I'm gonna kind of snug them with my hand with the cross and torque it down. I'm gonna start at 8 foot-pounds, which is between 6 and 10. We're gonna go in that crisscross pattern. I wanna make sure we crush that gasket, so I'm gonna go around a few times. And then maybe once it's all at 8, I'll finish it off with the 10, just to make sure it doesn't leak again. Another side note, it is also always better to start when tightening, going inside and out. So far I just did the corners to kind of hold it up, but I'm gonna start doing that now, kind of going from inside and then coming outwards. Like I said, I'm gonna follow up with the 10 for good measure. And what I kind of did, put this down, don't get dirty, is I went like, boom, see that, then that, then that, then that, then that, then that, or that, whichever one. And I just kind of kept on continued going in the crisscross pattern until I got all of them. Look at that. The new starter looks nice too. I forgot to mention that. Transparent is all cleaned up. Floorboard's looking good. Everything's looking pretty good down here now. Just gotta do probably a pressure wash just to clean up all the old oil. Just cut me along nicely, y'all. Now we got the radiator, don't mind the diapers. The new radiator, the parts fit right over from the old one, which is nice. The gas tank, I think you all saw had a bunch of sediment in there, so we really took it out, tried cleaning it the best we could. Now when you look in there, much more clean, because we don't want those sediments clogging up the new fuel pump, right? So let's go ahead and install the new fuel pump now. Finger back up. First, let's start off with a comparison, old pump versus new pump. This look very similar. We've got the digital dash floats already installed, a little bit different design. You guys have to put the arm in this one. The sock obviously is brand new on this one. The factory sock, which is somewhere on the floor here. Was all disintegrated and gunked up from presumably that sediment, maybe the E85 content. Now in the past, I have seen clog socks cause issues, so maybe the pump was fine, it was just that clog sock causing a little bit of the fuel pressure issues, but nonetheless, we've got the new pump here now. Your vent tube right here, which is right barb at the end. But if you look at the factory lines, they look just like the vent tube, right? With the two little barb nipples at the end. This one, it doesn't have that. They actually give you this fancy schmancy little barb fitting CNC type connector to put on there. And you can see this dual O-rings over there. So how this kind of works is this sits in the back like such, like that. You squeeze this in. I already had this in, I kind of just took it out to show you all. Push that in all the way, then this nut goes in the back, tightens up. I've seen this type of connector before, so that's kind of cool. As far as the factory lines go, I was recommended to replace the clamps with like the more fuel clamps. I'll show you here in a second. So I am going to be replacing that line with that clamp. I believe that's the return line, but the dual clamp that it comes with from the factory, I kind of like how that works. So I'm just gonna rock with that, tighten it up, see how I feel about it. If I feel like it's not a good connection, then I'll leave it alone, but I think it'll be fine. So, but as far as the condition of the lines, they're good. There's no need to replace them. They're nice and soft still. Obviously this car is seen, car we know is in good shape. So. And as far as the rest of it, you know, the harness, this one doesn't have wire loom, this one does. Here, that's kind of like hardwired in there, while this one has a connector you can replace this harness with if you ever had to. And thirdly, you can see the ground. This is nice bolted in ground with a nice, probably like a 12, so like a 12 or 10 gauge, probably like a 12 gauge wire, I assume. And this is more like a 14 gauge wire, and it's like a low attachment right there. So much better ground on this one. Yeah, so flow, obviously more fuel, a little bit better all around. So, you know, I was debating, contemplating if I just replace this part myself, but I'm totally glad I went and got the Raystronics one. So big shout out to Raystronics. I really like their build quality, the way they explain how the hot wire kit works, and you know, the engineering behind this pump. I really appreciate that, you know, and hope whoever this car goes to, you know, whether I keep it or not, you know, I might just say, hey, you know, Mark, I'm keeping the car registered to myself, or you know, whoever buys it, you know, I hope they appreciate that and they have to worry about things for a long time coming. Carefully dropped it in there, and if you forgot to put the O-ring in the first, like I did, I just kind of got it around in there. It's always a good practice, as always, to put a little coat of oil on the O-ring just to make sure it lasts long and doesn't dry up on you. And then we're just gonna seat that in place, go under that lip, seat it in place, like that. I did have to bend this one in a little bit, so it might just be from the shipping or something, but just a little squeeze that way because it was rubbing up on here. And now we put the seal on, tighten her down, put everything back together. And then to get the metal ring on, I did the same thing. I disconnected this harness, got it over there. It was kind of struggling to get over this lip, so I actually had to bend this line up a little bit to get the ring tucked under there. Got it on there to line it up. It's just like that. So the beginning of this starts right here, and then I actually don't hit by this tab. That's kind of where it stops. I like hitting it right here, so you can kind of see how it started, and I'm just going to kind of push it in with the screwdriver. I'm going to need 2 hands for this, but I just kind of hit it with my palm, kind of get it in there. Let's see if I can show you. And you can see that I got that one in, but this one didn't necessarily set in all the way, so not a big issue. Just going to have to shift the ring over. Tabs there, tabs there, tabs there. All of them are tucked under all 3 areas. Everything looks like it's pretty centered up. Plug that back in before I forget and put everything together. All right, everything else looks good. Let's go up, baby. I just bought this cool little tool at O'Reilly's. Kind of like it. It's like a magnet flex tool. You can just put your sockets and bolts on. But anyways, we're gonna try to do this by myself. Howard's on his way here, so if I can't get it, he'll help me. We're just gonna put it on the stand, lift it up, get the lines on, straps on. On the straps, bolts, I did add some grease. I usually like using anti-seize, but I couldn't find it right now because we just moved in and all my stuff's everywhere. So a little bit of grease because you don't want those to rust up on you later. All right, now we gotta get the lines on there. Pretty straightforward. Then we're gonna raise her up. Obviously, having 2 of these would be ideal. Unfortunately, I only have 1 right now, but we're gonna make it work. All right, I'm gonna go over this a little bit. So the back vent tube, I kind of just, I left this one off because it was kind of annoying to get pliers in there. I just put a new fuel injector clamp on there. For the second one, it was a bit tricky. You can probably tell I didn't have it all the way. That barb is tough, man. And once it was on there, I couldn't take it back off or push it in any forward. It was stuck. but it is on there. That's the end of the barb right there. The hose is more than on there, have tightened down. So what I did to kind of avoid that for this one, I just took a little bit of grease, lightly greased up the barb so that you can see this one all the way, pushing all the way, tying the crap out of it. There's no way this is gonna come out because that barb, like I said, it's just really, you know, I can pull on this all I want and it's not gonna come off. So that's all secure. Everything's looking good over here. Obviously the tank is a lot more balanced out because the lines are kind of there holding it in place. Just raise this thing up. Perfect. I don't know what the torque spec is.
Good and tight.
Good and tight. I could dig it. Yeah, but we're good. It's on all the way. Looks like it's pretty lined up to OE specs. I checked where the fuel filler net goes by the license plate. Perfect. And then this headlight's really cool, especially for videos. It kind of just follows me along. I like it. I just bought this thing from Home Depot. 20 bucks, best 20 bucks probably spent right now. And then these are pretty cool too. $8 for the pair. There's another one over there. Fuel pump is in. Trans filter is done. I think it's time to go up on top of the car. Our plan is to put the relay and the ground on that bolt right there, but we want to make sure that bolt has a good ground. So what we're doing is using the jump pack as a battery. As you can tell, I have the ground on the other side, obviously just to make sure that if the body is grounded, it's going to transfer over to this side. So if you see right now 0 volts, when I check the strap, it jumps up to 12. So we know the strap has a ground, which is a good sign. Tank, even the tank's grounded. Is this grounded? Yep, that's grounded too. So as long as the body has a good ground, when we go to that bolt, you'll see at first it's showing 0. But when I kind of scrape into the bolt, it starts showing 12. It's because that bolt's a little rusty. So what I'm gonna do is actually take off the bolt. We're gonna clean everything up, and then we're gonna use that as our ground. Yeah, right there. So you can kind of see it's a little rusty. So again, I'll show you right here. And I just do a quick touch to it. All right, we're gonna do the fuel filter now. I talked about a little bit in my previous video, but we're gonna crack these two loose. It's 16 millimeter metric. 16 has a little bit of play. I'm sure it's some kind of standard size, but I don't fortunately have a line wrench that goes that big. We're using the 20 millimeters. Again, probably something in metric. Once we get those cracked and off, there's 2 ways of taking the filter off. One, you can either open this little screw up, open it wide, or 2, take this 13 millimeter off and take the whole bracket off and slide it off, which is what I want to do. So let's go ahead and give this a shot, see how it goes. All right, that cracked loose, easy enough. And again, I sprayed these down a few days ago, so all right, you want to get on that one. Counterclockwise is going to be going towards me. 1, 2, 3. There you go. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Should be any fuel in the lines, I would assume. Oh, there is. It's good.
This solvent cleans the floor.
And you all have to see this. Remember that sediment that was in the tank? Look at that sediment. Look how dirty the fuel is. It's freaking sandy, but on the other side of the fuel filter, if you see, the other side of the fuel filter was actually clean. So it actually worked really well. So look, all that's not yucky stuff. And on this side, oh no, it's still yucky. Oh, that is disgusting. Why is it like that? Wait, which side? This side should have been coming out clean, but it clearly wasn't. So Yeah, remember all that sediment we found in the fuel tank? That's definitely the reason why I feel like towards the end of it, yeah, there's so much sediment in this fuel filter, so I'm glad we're changing this out. The tank's never been dropped before, and oh my god, that is disgusting. Look at that inside of that thing. Jeez, look at the new one. Man, that is disgusting. I want to cut this open. To take out the bracket was very easy. It was just a 7mm. It was really not rusted or nothing. Came off right away. Let's compare the two now. Both AC Delco GM should be at least inside. I mean, it's hard to kind of see in there, but you can kind of see how much crud is in there. It's freaking disgusting. And then the brand new one is brand new. Filter was brand new. It's nice and shiny in there. This filter has a bunch of crap in there. You kind of see it right there. Woo! And then the other side. See the other side?
Those are just
Just inside there. So you can see a bunch of crap that's kind of clogged up in there. So it's obviously brand new. I see the outside of it. Is there any? So this one says AC Delco, made in. So that's the big difference, guys. Look at that. In '87, this part was made in the USA. In 2023, this part was made in China. Of course it does. But as you saw, it is an AC Delco part. It was in that. It came out of that box. So there's that for you. GF952. Okay, what's the part number on that? There you go. GF481. So yeah, I don't know what that's about, but I'm still impressed by this thing. That thing is sick. Fuel pump wiring is officially done, so I'm actually going to start from the front and just kind of show you all how I ran everything. So comes up from the top, attached to that line. Probably put one more up when I get the car down. Snuck it around, boom, tie it up over there, and just kind of follow it along on the lines. Let me put one more over here. It comes over here. Then you put one more over here now that everything's done. And you kind of just have it following the curve of the line, as you can tell. It goes over, and then I have it behind that area. Just tuck it on top. Then it follows along. And then I wanted to avoid the exhaust, so I went boom right into the heat shield. Take that bolt off, stuck it in there. Again, you can see it following along, so it's not going to get in the way of anything. Follow the lines up top, then it crosses over this little weird mount arm, whatever the heck that is, and then it just runs on top of the tank, and boom. So that's the power wire, and then this is the harness wire. Let's see, lip ground, obviously the relay we put on that bolt. We did check the ground, 100% working perfectly fine. Then I zip tied this connector to the strap so it stays in place. That one is a factory connector, so that's obviously already over there. That's probably what Keon primer. Pretty straightforward. That's it for this video, guys. Stay tuned for the next video. We're gonna finish up the car on top, and then we're almost there. I think one more day and this car is running. We just gotta put the intercooler couplers back on, shine up some parts, clean up a lot of grease, put the new couplers on the intercooler pipes. The intake has to go on, finish the MEF translator, finish up the boost gauge wiring, the scan master wiring, secure all that stuff, put the turbo tweak chip in, radiator, fluids, bleed out the cooling system, and we'll be on the road. So thank you all for following along. Again, maybe one or two more videos this thing will be driving, and we'll see what the future holds for the Grand National. All right, make sure to like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, what else is there, YouTube. That's pretty much it. All right, appreciate you guys. Till next time.